What's up? So I've been using BlockFi for about 6 months now, and I figured it's about time to tell you the good and the bad about using it. So I started using BlockFi about 6 months ago in order to earn that amazing 8.6% interest. This was right at the beginning of my journey through the whole crypto space. And since then, now I have a split of roughly like 1/3 USDC, 1/3 Bitcoin, 1/3 Ethereum. My Bitcoin and Ethereum are long-term holds. My USDC is what I use as primarily my storage account. Now my storage account is something that I've talked about in previous videos, which I will attempt to link right here, where I basically am storing up cash for future investments, or in my case, currently, in case I quit my job unexpectedly and I need to cover the bills. So I can show you real quick, the account that I have right now is roughly about $14,000 split roughly in a third. And you'll see a lot of that is in USDC, where I'm earning 8.6% interest on that money. Now, there's a few important things about using BlockFi that you need to know. One, it is not a high yield savings account. Granted, my last video about BlockFi, I did refer to it as a high yield savings account. I've learned a lot about it since then. It is not a high yield savings account. So what is happening when you deposit this money into BlockFi? Well, you can actually go and look on Etherscan at your wallet address and see that all your money magically disappears, which is kind of terrifying to do. Hit me up in the comments if you want me to show you how to do that. So what happens is you transfer your crypto into BlockFi, and they basically transfer that crypto into their own smart contract, and then they're internally tracking everything on their own ledger. What they're doing with this money, this USDC or this Bitcoin or this Ethereum, is they're then lending that back out to other people. Most of those people are apparently institutional investors. We don't have a whole lot of insight into exactly who those types of people are, but it does seem like they are reputable institutional investors. And I've done quite a bit of research into this and BlockFi's investors themselves, and I think that they're telling the truth and that it's going to reputable people. And there's been history of flash crashes in Bitcoin where BlockFi has acted in the best interest in their customers. So I'm fairly confident keeping quite a bit of money here. Now, I'm not entirely allocated in just BlockFi in my storage account. I do have some money in the Compound protocol, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And that's kind of how I'm diversifying those. Now that you know the biggest risk of BlockFi, which is that you are making loans, what is it like to actually use this practically day in and day out? Now, one of the biggest things that I think you need to know in terms of how you can use this account is transfers. Transfers in and transfers out are incredibly slow, whether you use wire, ACH, or even sometimes direct crypto transfers. Now, a crypto transfer from one wallet into your BlockFi wallet is relatively fast. It's about as fast as you'd expect on a crypto network, but transferring it back out is still fairly slow. You typically need to allow 1 to 1.5 weeks in and out. I use ACH for most of my transfers in and out, so they're roughly the same. You need to roughly account for 1 to 1.5 weeks in and out for that money. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that there are withdrawal limits. Now, this isn't very different from any typical savings account where you have withdrawal limits. Now, on BlockFi, at least on the stable coin, you have 1 free withdrawal every month, and after that, there is a fee. So you need to plan your finances accordingly, which I have a video here about how I manage that, where I can manage it so that I only have to pull money out once a month. And the money that I need to pull out past that, I use my M1 Finance borrow line. Link in the description. So that's a very, very important thing to know as you're using this in and day out finances. It's probably not going to be something that you should consider super liquid. It's a lot more of a piggy bank that you need to break in order to access. Now, the other thing that I should mention about transfers, especially on ACH, is you need to look up whether they support your state. In Connecticut here, they do support ACH transfers in and out. But my friend, who I do a live stream with, which I'll drop in the description, Andrew, who lives in Vermont, they do not support ACH deposits. So he still has to go the whole Coinbase route where he deposits into Coinbase, gets USDC, waits for all that to clear, then he transfers it over to BlockFi, which is super annoying and slightly higher in fees. However, I do think it's actually slightly faster than the ACH on BlockFi. So, 6 of one, half dozen of another. There's another issue if you're buying another type of crypto versus a USDC, for example. If you're buying a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, you may want to buy it on another platform like Coinbase or Coinbase Pro because you could get a better price than you'll get on BlockFi. I haven't done extensive research into this, but Meet Kevin has done some analysis on this. I'll try to link that in the video in the description or up here or something like that, where he's actually measured the prices against all of these different things at a single point in time, and BlockFi is sort of typically the worst. Now, of course, that doesn't really matter if you're primarily buying into USDC to store it for the interest that you're earning here, but it could matter on other cryptos. So I mentioned earlier that I was going to talk about the Compound protocol. That's another place where I'm storing some of my stablecoin. Now, the Compound protocol is what they call a DeFi application, decentralized finance. And it's basically offering the same functionality as BlockFi. So what you can do is you can take your stablecoin or your Ethereum or Bitcoin or many other coins. You can check it out at compound.finance to see all the different tokens that they support. And you can deposit it into a smart contract and earn interest on it in a decentralized way. Now, what I really kind of like about this platform is that you can actually see what your interest rate is because it is variable based on supply and demand. They show you on the website the curve of supply and demand, how much supply there would have to be versus how much borrow amount there would have to be to earn a certain interest rate. And I've had my money in there for about 2 months now. I have only like 2,000, 2,500, something like that in there. And it's earned on average roughly close to what BlockFi has earned. Now, if you include the Compound token that you also get an interest, it actually earns slightly higher. It's like a 9 to 10% interest on average. And it's a very interesting way to also store your money. Now, the downside to Compound, which I'd love to go in further as I learn a little bit more, but one of the big downsides is that you do have to pay gas fees when you are depositing and when you are withdrawing your money. And as we all know, if you're in the Ethereum world, gas fees are incredibly high right now. And so in order to get a low percentage cost on your money, you need to actually deposit $10,000, maybe $50,000 at a time. The same thing on the withdrawal side, in order for that percentage fee to make sense so that it doesn't take you like 5 years in interest to pay the fee to deposit to earn interest. But it is important to note that that is available. There's many other platforms that are earning interest that are available. Some of them are variable like Compound, and BlockFi is one of the fixed interest rate providers. I'm also going to be exploring Voyager as soon as they let me open an account, because apparently they've had high demand the last 2 months. I'm going to be trying them out, and I'll do a review on here as soon as I can. But those are my thoughts on BlockFi after 6 months. I do highly recommend it if you have some money that you need to earn some interest on and need to store it. Just keep in mind you are loaning the money, and with all loans, they could eventually not be repaid, though I think that's a low possibility in this case. As always, I am not a financial advisor. Take this with a grain of salt because I'm just a dude on YouTube filming in my basement. And if you like this or someone you know likes this, please share it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.